welcome to episode 1 of my brand new podcast, Anastasia Scouting Report, where I'm going to be talking about NCAA women's basketball, the WNBA, Unrivaled, and everything in between. Okay, and so you may be wondering, why am I starting a podcast? Okay, I really love the game of basketball, talking about it, analyzing strategy, X's and O's, all those other things. And so I thought that having a medium like this is something that's different for me. It's going to be challenging for me, and it's just going to allow me to occupy a different area that I didn't before, and other people a new way to discover me. And people have been asking me for this for years. Okay, so I figured, why not give the people what they want? Why not give the people what they want? Okay. And so 2 things. Number 1, I'm going to try not to edit these so much. In my other videos, I edit them down. I'm very meticulous about that, but I'm going to try to have this be more of a free-flowing, kind of moment and everything. No Crystal Clannis, y'all know I don't like that, man. So I'm going to try to do that as well, and I'm also going to try to timestamp this, so if there's certain sections that are more pertinent to you that you're going to be more interested in, I'm going to try to do those things as well. And then also, if you're watching this on YouTube, for the visual viewers, I'm going to be throwing in photos of players, of stats, and just anything that I think is important, okay? So first off, let's talk about how I got into women's basketball in the first place, okay? So basically, I got into football first, okay? It was Taylor Swift. She was dating Travis Kelce at that time. I am a Taylor Swift fan. Don't get me started on the last album. And so I was like, you know what? Let me tap into this NFL game. So it was the game against the Jets, I believe. Did not know what was going on there a lot. And so I have learned a bunch about football since then, obviously. But I was kind of intrigued by it. So I was like, let me keep watching and everything. And then I started tapping into those shows like First Take, which they're terrible. But at that time, I was a new viewer and everything. And so then Stephen A was talking about Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Iowa versus LSU, that Elite Eight matchup, right? And he was like, this is going to be a great matchup, 2 of the best players in women's college basketball and everything. He was really hyping it up. So I was like, you know what? Let me tap in. Let me see what it's giving. I like basketball. I hadn't really watched basketball that much. If anything, I might have seen a highlight and stuff like that. But I was like, let me give it a try. And I really enjoyed the game. And so then the next game was Iowa versus UCONN. And we know what happened with Aaliyah Edwards, illegal screen and everything. And that being my introduction to Aaliyah Edwards, absolutely crazy, okay, with that whole game. And then that's where I was introduced to Paige, her Paige's story, liked how she played in the game and everything. So I kind of kept tabs on Paige a little bit afterwards with that. And then I started watching the first season of the W, and I watched Caitlin and Angel at that time. I'll give more opinions on Caitlin in my next episode. I'm not trying to get into that today. But yeah, so I watched my first season of that, really enjoyed that. I didn't really catch up with the last season whenever UConn won the chip. I didn't watch the full regular season of that. I really should have. I don't know why I didn't. I just wasn't tapped in at that time, okay? I was more casual when I first started watching women's basketball. Like, I would miss some of the games and everything. And so then the tournament came around. I was like, okay, let me tap in for the tournament. And so then it was the Sweet 16, I believe that was the game that I watched. Paige's 40-piece, great game. And so I was tapped in from there. And then I watched the Elite Eight against USC. I watched the Final Four against UCLA. And that's when I was like, okay, like, UConn's getting the chip, they're winning it all. Saw the championship game, and I just became obsessed with UConn women's basketball. So then I took it upon myself to go back, watch all the games that I missed from that season at least. I'm still trying to watch a bunch of Paige's games and AZ's games, like all the ones that I can find and everything for UConn. But went back, watched everything, loved it, and then just got way more into it and everything, okay? Started making videos about it because nobody covered UCLA, and that was just such a great game to me with all the turnovers that they were able to force and the defensive masterclass that they were putting with that game. So I was like, you know what, I should make a review of this. And so that's why I started making reviews, and that's why I'd be posting my reviews late at night and everything. So that's kind of how I started. And then Paige was about to go to the W, and then I Love Angel, of course. And so I was like, let me start making more videos about the WNBA and reviewing that, because I did do some reviews for the NFL Pass. And so that's how I started and everything, and it's done well for me. And I really enjoy talking about the game and what it's opened up for me, and thank you guys for supporting me in that fashion. So that's kind of how I started. That's how I got started into watching women's basketball, basically. And now I get to the part where I tell you guys my affiliations, okay? Who are my favorite players? Who are my favorite teams? Who am I rooting for above all, okay? So WNBA, my absolute favorite players, Paige Beckers, Angel Reese, Nafisa Collier, okay? My teams that I'm watching, Dallas Wings because of Paige, Minnesota Lynx because of Fee, and then whatever team Angel's going to be on. Hopefully it's not the Chicago Sky, because it was tough last year, the last 2 years, to be honest. But those are my favorite players. The next episode that I do, I'm going to go in depth as to why I love these players, what I thought about the last season of the WNBA, things I liked, things I didn't like, the coaching carousel, and all those other moments. So I will go more in depth with that with the next episode. I'm trying to focus this one more so on college, but I will definitely tap into that. But those are my absolute favorites. And then For college, UConn is my team, as I've discussed, and then I really like Texas as well. They would be my second favorite team. I want UConn to win above all else, okay? If Texas happens to be playing and everything, UConn not playing, I will tap in, and I've been trying to follow Texas more this season, but I do like Texas a lot, okay? For Unrivaled, I'm following Breeze because that's a team Paige plays for, and Hive, I'm kind of looking at them on the side, okay? Because Fee not playing this year because of the injury and everything, and for me, I really watched this game because of the players, okay? So if Paige, Angel, Fee, or whatever was to leave their team overnight and switch to a new team, I would switch with them. Okay, it just happens. I live near Dallas and everything. Paige plays for us, so it's great. I can go to some of the games and everything, but I'm really players first. Some people really believe in this whole team above all else. It doesn't matter the players who leave and everything. It's all that. No, that was never me. No, that was never me. No, that one thing. Okay, so those are my affiliations. And now I kind of wanted to talk about some women's college basketball, which is why I'm here today. Okay, so starting off with UConn, I would say UConn's most important players this year are going to be AZ Fudd. Now, AZ Fudd is averaging 17.8 points per game. She has 2.6 rebounds a game, 2.8 assists. She also is 49.3% from the field. And I got to find a screenshot of her shooting splits, but yeah, she's really close to like a 50-50, 100 season, which is absolutely crazy what she's doing. But AZ Fudd plays a shooting guard position, and she's someone who I just love to watch play the game for sure, okay? Because it's an entire thing. But she's really crafty. Her three-point shooting is absolutely insane. She's lights out from the three. She can hit the mid-range. I'm glad that she's pulling up more and doing that and getting crafty with that. The reverse layup, we had two of those the last game. That was Tia as well. And she's really efficient with that, and her defense is locked down. If you look at the master classes that she was giving you on Jazzy Davidson, on Silas Stories before Gino took her off for some reason. So, yeah, I'm very fond of AZ Fudd. I got my AZ Fudd hoodie on today for the visual viewers of this video, okay? But, yeah, love me some AZ Fudd. Love me some AZ Fudd. She will be number one to the Dallas Wings. Trust. And I'm going to make a scouting report on that and have that discussion. But AZ Fudd, for certain, is one of the most important players for this UConn team and everything. Sorry with the lighting, okay? But we move, okay? I'll try to edit this in post. And then next up, we got Sarah Strong, okay? Sarah Strong, best sophomore in the country right now. Okay? Just what she's able to do, how she's able to finish in the post. She got that little spin move, and she can give you work. She can hit a mid-range too. I would like to see her dive into that more this upcoming season for sure. And then also, she is good from the three-point line as well, okay? We're starting to get the threes back up there. And she plays great defense, and she's just someone who, for the most part, doesn't get sped up. She can facilitate on the side. Forgot to say that for AZ, but AZ can facilitate as well. Just really great basketball IQ, and just what Sarah Strong has done this season and last season has been spectacular, okay? So Sarah's stats this year, she is going to be giving you 18.4 points a game. She has 7.8 rebounds a game, 4.6 assists, and she's 59.5% from the field this season for UConn, okay? And then another important player for UConn this season has been Blanca Quinones, okay? So she's giving you 10.3 points a game, 3.2 rebounds a game, 2.1 assists, and she's 56.7% from the field. She come off the bench. She should be starting. 100%. But she's just someone who's fearless. You know, she can see the kind of things that nobody else can really see in terms of her passing, and she can score in a variety of ways as well. I like her defense a lot, and she's been really pivotal for us off the bench. So I would say that those are the most important players for UConn this season, you know, and hopefully we can get that moment where we repeat, but those are the players that I think are going to be key for those moments, okay? Other pieces that we have for UConn this year, we have KK Arnold. Okay, so KK Arnold is giving you 7.1 points a game, 2.3 rebounds, 4.7 assists, and she's 54.8% from the field. Okay, the thing with KK is KK started, I believe, her freshman year because the injuries and everything with UConn, and then she didn't start as well because, you know, they brought Caitlin Chen in and there was that whole thing, came off the bench, defensive minutes, that's really her role. So KK is mainly more so known for her defense. Okay, not really known for her scoring prowess, though. That's something she's working on. I would like to see her take more threes this year because I feel like she doesn't take enough. I believe she was 10 of 47 from three last year, which is just dreadful straight up. She doesn't have a solid jumper, which is discouraging, but I'm hoping this is something that she develops as well in her game, and she really likes to drive, take a lot of contested layups, get herself some and ones as well, but I would like to see her diversify the way that she can score, especially as a guard. I believe she's only 5'9", okay? And so when you get to the league, those things are going to be a problem because you're going to get blocked at the rim. So I would like to see her diversify her scoring, so that's one. Two, I think the facilitation has improved since she started this year, and she's finding her shooters in transition more and just having better opportunities with that. I still don't like the way that she runs or commands the offense and everything, to be honest. Still think we have some things to have with that. The shot selection at times, the basketball IQ be low, okay? KK mainly known for her defense, okay? And so I think there's some room to grow. There's some room to grow. There's been some performances that I wasn't fond of. I think she's been improving. She got hurt and everything. Something with her eye. I think it was an orbital fracture, something. She's back. But those are some thoughts that I have on KK right now. I've had my criticisms, okay? We have Ashlyn Shade. As you've seen some of my reviews, you guys know I have a lot of criticisms of Ashlyn Shade, okay? So she's giving you 7.2 points a game, 3.1 rebounds, 2.8 assists, and she's 40.7% from the field, okay? My entire thing with Ashlyn is I feel like she just works better as a spark off the bench. Whenever she starts full games, she just makes so many mistakes. If you look at that Michigan game we played, whenever she was 3 of 10 from the field, I mean, that was just dreadful, okay? And then she was just getting beat on defense as well. There was that one possession where AZ got the steal, I believe, going in transition, looked at Ashlyn, and then Ashlyn wasn't looking, and then boom, turned it over. And there was this moment at the end where I believe AZ and KK got the steal, gave it to Ashlyn. Ashlyn literally turned it over. And Michigan, thankfully, they missed a shot, but, you know, that's still bad positions to be in. So I just think defensively, she gets cooked all the time. It's not really moving me, and I think she's best when she's limited to like 3-4 shots a game. Whenever she starts, you know, feeling it and everything, she just takes some ill-advised shots. Whenever I see her creating her own shot and all those other things, it's like, no. I think she's at the best whenever she's getting those catch and shoot threes in the corner, she's getting you some rebounds, she's able to come up with a steal every now and again on defense, and having some good moments facilitating the ball to an AZ Fudd, to a Sarah Strong. I think that's what her role is. And starting, it's just not helping the team. It's just not helping the team, okay? And there's just been many performances where Ashlyn Shade has irritated me, okay? So I have to say that, because AZ Fudd at this rate is having to play small forward because of Ashlyn Shade. And that don't sit right with me. This was not in the Bible. This was not in the Bible, okay? So I have my criticisms of her. And then we move on to Sarah Williams for this team, okay? So she's giving you 7.3 points a game, 4.8 rebounds, 1.9 assists, and 54.3% from the field, okay? I think that she's giving you some good stuff on defense and everything. Like, if you actually watch these games, she's solid on that area. Offensively, I would like to see the points per game go up. In the preseason, she was looking pretty good. However, it just got to a point where the season started and she was really struggling, okay? They're double teaming her in the post, and she's taking some shots that she shouldn't take and missing, and then some easy ones that she should get, some bunnies around the rim she's missing, okay? And so I think that there are some problems lying in there, and I would like to see her kick out the ball more. I would like to see her extend the shot that she's taking more, because she's taking a lot of stuff at the rim. She's taken a few minis this year. She's made a few, but she doesn't take a whole lot of them. She doesn't take any threes right now. And we have a lot of great three-point shooters, but I would like to see her diversify her scoring profile as well. So those are some of my things with Sarah Williams at this point. And the starting lineup at this rate is going to be KK Arnold, AZ Fudd, Ashlyn Shade, Sarah Williams, and Sarah Strong, okay? And so I don't think Ashlyn should be starting. I would put Blanca in that spot. I wanted K9 to start over KK, but I think KK's been giving you better production as of late. Some of my thoughts on the other players of the team and everything. I don't have the stats pulled up. But I think K9, she looked really good in preseason and in the start of season. I think there was a point where Gino wasn't getting her enough minutes. Like, she would have a few meaningful minutes, but then she'd play most of her time in garbage time. So I think that kind of like messed up the flow of everything as well. And then I think she kind of just started struggling. I thought she was taking some bad shots and everything, getting cooked on defense at times and everything, and just not playing with confidence, okay? She got hurt in one of the games, and then she came back with everything as well. So I'm just hoping some of the good play that I've seen from her recently will continue on for the rest of the season. Maybe she will get that starting spot over KK. Who knows? But I would like to see her up her production, because I do think that she's a better facilitator of the basketball than KK. I think she's more of a natural at the point guard position than KK, okay? So I do like K9 for what it's worth. Janet Alafi, I think, is a really good player for this UConn team, okay? Last year, she was starting. She did some great stuff in the Final Four against, like, Lauren Betts and such. And she did get in foul trouble in that game and a championship game as well. So I think she has to focus on staying out of foul trouble, defending without fouling, you know, obviously. And then she misses some easy layups that she should definitely make. But I think that the physicality that she offers you in the post and just kind of her strength is more than that of Sarah Williams. So I don't know. Me and my friends were talking and kind of feel like she should be starting over Sarah Williams at this point because of the physicality that she's offering you in the post. She is getting your rebounds and everything. She's setting screens. This team as a whole is not setting screens, okay? I don't know what happened to that. I I already have PTSD from Dallas Wings because they weren't setting no screens for Paige. So I think that that's something that has to be done as a team. Isabel, some games she's good, some games she's not. I think the lineups with her are not working right now, okay? So I will say that about Isabel. The defense is not good either, okay? And then Morgan Shelley is out, but Morgan Shelley's a demon. I still remember that screen that she set for Paige in that North Carolina game last year, okay? She has IQ. She can play that 3 spot. She's been out the entire season. Hopefully she's to come back soon. Ice Brady doesn't really have scoring prowess, as we know. Defensively, she gets cooked. For the most part, she's good at setting screens, you know, and those things, and getting some rebounds at times, but Ice Brady's not really a factor, I would say, at this rate. So those are the main players. You also look at someone like Ayanna Patterson, not really giving you a whole much right now. She's just a garbage time player, for lack of a better word. Caroline Ducharme, a similar thing as well. So I think that I pretty much got everybody for this UConn team. Okay, if I forget anybody, I will definitely add that later. But those are the most important players, I think, for UConn at this rate. Okay, Gandy's not playing, I forgot. And then Khalees. I do like Khalees. She only gets to play in garbage time, so there's not really much to talk about. I wish she would get some more meaningful minutes. I wish Jana would get some more meaningful minutes. I almost forgot about them, okay? Overall thoughts on UConn this year. I think that they have great defense, really stifling. They force a lot of turnovers, being able to make good on that at the other end, score in transition, finding their teammates for opportunities with that. And the help side defense, I think, is really great for UConn as well. So I think that defensively, they're really solid. They cannot play zone. They cannot play zone. People like Ashlyn Tate in the back, they be messing up the rotations with that zone. So that's something that I would like for UConn as a team to figure out, because they cannot play zone at this rate, okay? I think that the offense is kind of looking sticky. There are some games where it's looked really good for us and where we figured it out, and there's been some games where we struggled with it, you know? And so I think that the reason that I like UConn is they're that team that's really mastered the art, for the most part, of making that extra pass, okay? And at this rate, it's like we either make too many passes and we wind the shot clock down, and then we have to heave because we didn't get a great look, or we don't pass enough and taking ill-advised shots when someone like AZ Flood in the corner is open, okay? So those are things that kind of frustrate me with that. And like I said, KK's facilitation, sometimes making bad decisions, especially in transition. I feel like she gets sped up, she'll turn the ball over, she'll make bad passes at times, and take shots herself that she could pass out. Like I said, I think she's doing better with finding her shooters in transition and those opportunities as well. But there's times like, I think it was that Iowa game that we played in where she got the ball and AZ had to tell her kick the ball out to Blanca for the 3 because she was hesitating on that. So still some room to learn with that and everything. But yeah, I kind of feel like the offense is sticky. Some games it looks great, some games it doesn't. But, you know, there's that. The starting lineup, like I said earlier, I don't like I said, I don't think Ashlyn Shade should be starting. At this point, I would like to see Jana start over Sarah Williams. I would personally. Or at the very least for them to split minutes. Okay, like I said, I think KK improves. I think AZ should have more touches in his offense. And every single time I say that in my reviews, people are talking about, oh, it's a team and da-da-da-da-da. I'm not saying AZ should take 30 field goals in a game. I'm not saying that. But I was thinking this, in what world is a shooting guard not having at least like 15 field goal attempted? There's been some games where AZ hasn't even touched 10 field goals attempted. And I think that that's blasphemous. And that's when you're missing a player like Paige, okay? Because Paige was going to make sure that she looked for AZ no matter what, especially when AZ was having a good game. You look at that 34 piece against St. John's. You look at that game against South Carolina and what AZ was able to do in that game. And just, you know, getting the ball in the shooter's pocket in transition, getting her that. You had the dribble handoffs with AZ as well, but she was always making sure that AZ got her touches, okay? And I'm not seeing that with the UConn offense, okay? AZ a top 2 player on the team. That's not up for debate. That's not up for debate at this point. And so, yeah, every single time I say that, people, oh, everyone else build confidence. Y'all want Ashlyn Shade taking shots in the clutch in a Final Four moment? Because I don't have confidence that she's going to make those things. And I get everybody got to get touches to gain confidence, but Ashlyn Shade decision making is not leading me to think that she's going to make those shots, I'm sorry. Whenever you get to your biggest moments, you trust your best players, which are AZ Flood and Sarah Strong. So I think she should have at least 15 field goal attempted. I don't know why AZ touches always got to be sacrificed. I don't know why this is a thing for debate and everything, but I don't feel like her touches should be sacrificed at this rate. I think she should have more touches, and I think she should have those consistently, okay? And I do have this pulled up, but it's just like all of her stats in ranked matchups and everything. I mean, if we look at the Michigan game when she really stepped up, she had 31 points, and she had 7 threes in that game, okay? Made all the free throws, she had 5 rebounds in the game, and then you look at her stats against Power 4 competition when she was giving you 20 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal versus number 20 Louisville. She gave you 23 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals versus Florida State, 19 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steal, 1 block versus Ohio State. The Michigan game, as I already mentioned, but 31 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steal, and 2 block, okay? Michigan, they were tough, and they still are tough, with the zone that they're playing. And then you look at Utah, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block versus Utah, okay? And Michigan and Utah, she was MVP of both of those games, mind you, okay? So we have to have that. USC, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, okay? Number 17 at that time. And that defense that she was playing on Jazzy, she had her in jail in that game. And Iowa recently, she played, she had 27 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, and 1 block, okay? So in the ranked matchups, AZ is always going to show up. AZ is always going to show up. And I really believe that she should get her touches regardless because, like I said, the habits that you're building in these Big East games are going to translate to the other games. Get AZ her touches. I'm tired of seeing AZ run cardio in these games. I'm seeing her wide open in the corner. I'm seeing her cutting through. And I'm not seeing the basketball in her hands. And I'm seeing Ashlyn Shade miss wide open threes. I got a problem with that, okay? So, yeah, I was just thinking about the best teams that are winning championships, and the shooting guard is taking, like, at least the second or third most shooting attempts. Like what happened to that? What happened to that? She should have her touches. And what world is a shooting guard not getting shots up? Okay, and she's efficient at that. Okay, so I have problems with that. I'm always going to state that, and that's one. Okay, there needs to be a need for a hierarchy. Like I said, Sarah and AZ, top 2 players on the team, they should be having at least 15 field goal attempted. I really don't think that should be up for debate. I would like to see Blanca probably get around 8 to 10 shots a game. Okay, everybody else, get in where you fit in type situation, but those are our most consistent players. I think that our bench depth is a problem this year. Blanca's our most consistent piece in that second unit. K9 is kind of streaky at times. I think Janet can give you some good stuff, but I think Blanca's the best. With that and everything, I already gave you guys my thoughts on some of the other bench players, but Blanca, our best player on the bench. So the bench, it's a problem at this rate. It's a problem at the rate. I think that there's bad rotations when we're having Ali Zabel and Ashlyn Shade in the lineups at the same time. I don't understand that. There's been times he rested Sarah and AZ at the same time, which I don't understand. And then it's like they're not getting enough rest in certain games. In the Michigan game, whenever Sarah only got to rest at halftime, she played the entire game basically. AZ maybe got 1 or 2 minutes to rest in that game, okay? And it's because of them that we won that game, okay? AZ was real clutch in that fourth quarter. AZ was real clutch in that fourth quarter, okay? So those are some of the things that I think UConn needs to work on. I think that the rebounding, we need to get more rebounds as a team. We need to get more rebounds as a team. Like I said, focusing on some of the stuff that we got to do on offense, just having it be smoother. And I understand it's not March and you don't want to be playing your best basketball right now and yada, yada, yada. But I would like to see some stuff improve because we're winning, but I don't like how it looks. And these are things that come back to bite, okay? I had problems with the offense before the Michigan game, if you've seen some of my reviews, and the Michigan game happened. And we did good in the beginning of the game, and then the second half, we played bad. We played bad straight up, and luckily we were able to do it in the fourth quarter and get everything together with AZ and all that, but it was tough, okay? And I'll put some of the stats up of that Michigan game because we all be forgetting sometimes with the stats and everything, so I will put those up so you guys can see the stats from that game and everything. But that zone that they played us in had us in a blender. Every time teams play zone against us, we consistently struggle with that zone. We consistently struggle with that zone in a way that we shouldn't, okay? Gino be a terrorist sometimes with these lineups and some of the decisions that he makes. But anytime you question Gino, you're not allowed to question Gino anymore because he's won all the championships and all those other things. And I get he's done great things and he's a great coach and everything. Sometimes he make bad decisions, okay? And everything. And so it just really frustrates me. It just really frustrates me. So I think that those are some of my main takeaways from this UConn team at this point, okay? Sarah and AZ, best duo in the country, my favorite players in women's college basketball, and some of my favorite players, okay? I got my AZ FUT jersey behind me, okay? For the visual viewers, so you can see that, okay? I think those are the main things for UConn, okay? Now I wanted to talk about Texas and what they got going on, okay? So their most important players this season, I would say Madison Booker. She's giving you 18.9 points a game, 7.3 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and she's 51.1% from the field, okay? They be saying she played power forward. She's a small forward. And she's giving you good production for the most part. And she really likes to take those mid-range jump shots, okay? So if they run into a team that plays good zone against them, that could be a problem, okay? Because she really likes to get in that elbow area and knock down her mid-rangers, okay? She's going to be taking the most shots as a team for Texas and everything. The problem is that she can be inefficient at times. She doesn't show up in big matchups, okay? You look at that UCLA game. And that second half, where was she at? She missed all of her shots. She was like 0-6 from the field. She did have a few good defensive plays, so I'll give that to her. I think she's decent on defense for the record. But these are things that I worry about with Madison Booker. These are things that I worry about Madison Booker with, the big matchups and everything, because she tends to choke in those matchups, okay? Go look at history. I watched that SEC championship game that they played against South Carolina this past year. Terrible hoops. That whole Texas team was terrible, but especially Madison Booker. Like, if y'all ever have seen that game, you understand. The light keep flickering, child. out. I'm sorry about that. But that was tough. That was a really tough game to watch. And South Carolina make Texas play ugly, okay? So that is something to keep note. But for the most part, I do like Madison Booker. Just she has her problems, okay? And also the three ball. The three ball needs to improve as well for her. She be foul baiting sometimes. And also I would say that a player like Jordan Lee is important for Texas. So she's averaging 14.9 points a game, 2.4 rebounds, 2.7 assists. She's 44.1% from the field. She's their 3-point specialist. Texas doesn't take a whole lot of threes. And if they do, she's the main one taking them. Last game, she really struggled with that. She was 1 of 6, 1 of 7 from the field. So it was pretty tough for her. It was pretty tough for her in that regard. So you hope that she improves with that. But she's giving you good production, consistent production at that, the 3-point specialist that Jordan Lee is. So she's doing some good stuff. She can do some good stuff on defense on occasion. You look at Roy Harmon. I think that she's a big piece for this Texas team because she's giving you 9.1 points a game, which I would like to see the production go up. She takes a lot of middies. I would like to see her take more threes and be more confident in her shot, but she's giving you 9.1 points a game, 3.6 rebounds. You got 7.6 assists, and you're 51.1% from the field. So for the most part, I think that Roy Harmon is doing some good stuff for you. And I really like the way that she facilitates this offense, the way that she's able to slow it down and just able to get the ball to her shooters in transition, able to feed the post and be able to make those sophisticated post-entry passes. That's something I forgot to say about KK, but I don't feel like she does those well. She turns it over, and she can do it if it's like an easy pass, if it's a bounce pass. But if there's pressure on her, if it's a harder pass, she tends to turn it over. And the team as a whole with UConn, I feel like is struggling with those post-entry passes. So you have to be able to feed the post. So that's something that irritates me. Okay, with UConn specifically. But like I said, Roy does a great job at that. There was this one moment in the Ole Miss game, I believe, that they played, and there was this pass that she had that was absolutely insane, I believe, to Jordan Lee in transition. So being able to do those things as well. And so I think that her defense is awesome as well, really stifling defense. You're seeing her force shot clock violations, 5-second violations, making shots really difficult, making them have to pass the ball. Like, she's really a defensive menace in every single game. And so I love what she's doing. And I think she's like, second all time in steals for Texas as well. Over 800 assists for Texas. So I really like her game. And I think in that UCLA game, she came up huge. So there's that. Other pieces, we got Bria Cunningham, 10 points a game, 5.6 rebounds, 0.2 assists, 61.8% from the field. So someone like her and Oldacre, who is giving you 12.1 points a game, she had 6.3 rebounds, 0.5 assists, 66.9% from the field. I think that they are great post presence for Texas, okay? Offensively, getting in the post, making sure that those layups fall. If not, they're probably there to get the offensive rebound, cash back in on that. If somebody else's misses, they're there to get the offensive rebound. They're there to get the defensive rebound. They both play great defense. If you're looking at that game against UCLA that I have referenced before. So I really like both of them. I think both of them do a lot of great things for this Texas team, and I think that this post presence is going to be huge when they play a team like LSU, because they have something that LSU doesn't in a variety of ways, but especially I think what you're getting with that post presence, so I'll say that. And then you also have Justice Carlton, 9.6 points a game. She has 4.5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 49.6% from the field. Last game was a better game for Justice Carlton. I will say that. And so with that game, she had 17 points, I believe, 6 of 11 from the field. So that's definitely one of her better games. Because the games I be watching her and she be kind of struggling at points. Some of the shot selections ill-advised. I think defensively, she doesn't really try half the time, and then sometimes she tries and she gets beat and she has some bad plays. But I thought she did some good stuff offensively, defensively. Didn't she get a charge in the last game as well that they played against Auburn? So I think that she did some good stuff. So I think that she can be decent for you. In the meantime, no Aaliyah Crump. We don't know when she's to be back. Okay, so I think that Aaliyah Crump will help whenever she comes back, but she's been out for a while. What I like about this Texas team, they play great defense, similar to UConn, really stifling. They force a lot of turnovers, and they also have great press, which UConn does as well. But a lot of similar things that I like about both defenses, but they just force the other team to play bad, okay? You make a mistake, they're going to capitalize off of that, and they're just really disruptive on the defensive end. They're flying around everywhere, so I really love Texas defense, okay? And I think that that's one of the reasons why they do so well, the way that they're able to capitalize off those opportunities and score and all those other things. But yeah, a lot of things that I like about UConn defense, I like about Texas, okay? I was asking my friends this, who do you guys think is better on defense, okay? Let me know, okay? And so whenever I do record these, my camera has a 30-minute limit, okay? So if you see some of the cuts that I'll have to do, and like I said, I'm going to try not to do many, okay? The only time I think I'm going to do cuts in these is if I lose my train of thought, if I mess something up, basically, but I'm really going to try to talk. But I have to stop recording whenever it hits 30. Like, the camera automatically stops and I have to have a new one. So you see some of those edits, that's something to keep everything on. Okay, so continuing with Texas, I think some of their problems right now is the three-point shooting is such an Achilles heel. Like I said, they don't take a whole lot of threes. When they do, not really that efficient deficient in making them. I think Jordan Lee, obviously your 3-point specialist and everything. Madison Booker could stand to be better from 3. I don't know. This is a team that's not really that confident in their 3-point shot. They don't take a whole lot of them. And so I think if they go against a team who can play a great zone on them, force them to take a lot of threes, they have a really good opportunity to win that, okay? Because the 3-point shooting has been a problem for them all season. Lack of bench depth, I think, is a problem. I think Judd has been giving you some good stuff off the bench and everything. I think Oldacre is their best bench piece. But yeah, their bench depth, that's something that has to be shown. Like I said, Madison Booker not really playing well in big ticket matchups is going to be a problem as well that I think can hurt them because she's the best player, okay? And so, also, they have a problem with blowing leads. If you look at that game that they played against Ole Miss, they had like a 20-point lead in the third quarter, and they almost choked that game away because they started turning over the basketball. They weren't able to get stops on defense, and I think that part of it has to be like a discipline thing or something like that maybe, or maybe it's an entire thing of getting tired because the brand of defense that they play, like I said, really stifling. So maybe it's that. I don't know. For the most part, they have discipline, but when we get up big, it's like you stop doing the things that got you there and you make careless mistakes with the basketball when you turn it over. So I think in that Ole Miss game, they almost choked that away. Luckily, they controlled it and got it together in that fourth quarter, okay? I still think that offensive foul that was called on Madison Booker, I believe, wasn't that like a blocking foul or something? I still didn't understand that. I don't agree with that for the most part, but they really almost got beat by Ole Miss, okay? Ole Miss, I think, has a lot of grit for the record, and they really almost staged a comeback, but there was that. That UCLA game, they were up big. I think they were up 20 at halftime. Almost choked it away because, again, you're making mistakes with the basketball, not doing some good stuff on defense. They have lows where they're not able to score. So I think usually whenever they get up with a big lead, they're able to keep it and they can finish the game fine. But there's just been some times against some really good opponents that I struggle with that. And then if you play the right team at the wrong time, they could lose those games, okay? So I think that that is something that is important. Also, they were in a dogfight with, like, Mizzou for a period of time in that game. They were in a dogfight with South Dakota State. And they're just too good of a team to be in a dogfight with teams like that. So I think just making some mistakes and everything. I like Vic Schaefer as a coach. I think he's a great coach. So definitely got to give him credit with this Texas team. I think they're doing a lot of good things. But yeah, Texas is my second favorite team. I'm trying to catch more of the games this upcoming year for sure. But those are some things that I think can be a problem for Texas, okay? Now I'm going to go on to UCLA. Okay, so their most important players, I would say Lauren Betts. Okay, Lauren Betts is giving you 16.3 points a game, 8.4 rebounds, 3.1 assists, and she's 57% from the field. Okay, and some of Lauren Betts fans think I don't like her, which is not true. Like, in these days, you can't have nuance on players no more. Like, what happened to that? What happened to having nuance on a player and everything and saying, these are the things that they do well, these are the things that they struggle with, and having that moment and everything. I've said that there's things that Lauren Betts can do well, okay? Like her dominance in the post and the way that she's able to get her positioning and the way that she's able to score at that. I think she's great on defense, obviously. At 6'7", you gotta be, okay? She's a great shot blocker, okay? She's getting you a lot of rebounds for the most part in these games, and she really has a mentality if she's not gonna quit. You saw that UConn game, they were putting her hell in the post. Okay? She never gave up. She had 26 points, and part of that was because Ice Brady was guarding her. Ice Brady guarding you, just put the points on the board at this point. But Lauren Betts is a great player. Lauren Betts puts points on the board. She's dominant at her position. I think in the beginning of the season, Lauren Betts really struggled, to be frank, and I just didn't see that fight in her. And I don't really know what that was, but I think recently she's really starting to turn a corner, and she's starting to look like the player that we know. Okay? And so, like I said, I think she has stuff that she does well. The problem is when they get in front of her in the post and they turn the ball over and they deny her even getting those post entry passes like the Texas game, you're able to effectively take her out of the game. And so I would like to see her drive to the basket more, take it coast to coast, have that consistent mid-range jumper because she doesn't take it in every single game, and even then it's not consistent with going in. And then she doesn't take threes at all, which is a huge problem. I would just like to see her add to her bag. Where's a fadeaway jumper? Where's some more stuff? Where's some more stuff in the game? Let's see a little spin move. Like, let's do some stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like she's going to go to Minnesota because Shell Reeve has been to some of her games. She already has an idea of what she can do, and she knows that she can make her better. I think Lauren Betts is a better player than we're seeing right now, and she's already giving great production, but Corey Close is holding her back because Corey Close cannot coach, and I will die on that hill, okay? So I have a varied opinion on Lauren Betts, but I do think when all is said and done, she's going to go number 2 to Minnesota Lynx. And I did said that. You can look at my videos. You can count that, okay? I don't think for Dallas because the three-point shooting, among other issues that we have in developing bigs and all the other things. But Lauren Betts is, you know, your main player on this team, okay? And a lot of the success is going to be because of Lauren Betts. We'll put it that way. We look at Gianna Neepkins. 14.3 points a game, 3.9 rebounds, 3.3 assists. She's 52.6% from the field. So I think that she's a good player. That jump shot is horrendous. I don't know why I didn't fit those mechanics. I will say that. I will say that. But she's putting points on the board and she's crafty. She can score some threes for you. She can create her own shot into a mid-range. She can finish at the basket whenever she needs to. So I think she can score in a variety of ways. Obviously, the defense, I think that the off-ball defense, like her getting steals, is really good. I think her on-ball defense, not good. It's not consistent. So those are my things with Gianna Neepkins. You know, I think she's a good player for this UCLA team. You know, their best guard in my opinion. And then we have Kiki Rice. Kiki Rice is giving you 15.3 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, 4.4 assists, and she's 49.7% from the field. The thing with Kiki Rice is Kiki Rice likes to do a lot of driving and everything. I don't know. She be reminding me of Haley Van Lith. She be reminding me of KK at times because she loves to take those drive layups, and I would like to see a consistent jumper that she does every single game. You know, she does a lot of driving and getting in ones. And the three ball, I would like to see her do better with that. The defense is not moving me. Kiki Rice is not moving me, bro. I swear, some of these matches, she be stat padding, okay? In that Texas game, like, it just got to a point. She got her points at the free throw line, but child, before that, she was like 4 of 11, okay? So Kiki Rice just does not move me. I think some of y'all overrate her game, to be frankly. I'm sorry. If it's a big ticket matchup and Kiki Rice is your top guard, Lord send the flood, because y'all not winning that game. She just doesn't move me. Other pieces that they got, Angela Dugalich, 10.3 points a game, 5.9 rebounds a game, 1.3 assists. She's 55.6% from the field, okay? And so I think she can give you some good minutes. So I will say that about Dugalich, and then I'm moving on to Charlize Ledger-Walker. 8.5 points a game, 3.8 rebounds, 6.3 assists. She is 43.9% from the field this season for UCLA. I think she's at her best as a facilitator, okay? And I think she was leading the team in assists at one point. That last game against USC, she did not play well. She was doing anything and turning the basketball over. It was not good for her, okay? But I think she can do some good stuff as facilitating. She can score occasionally, but don't expect her to be a main contributor. Scoring-wise, the defense, I mean, Lord send the flood. Sienna Betts, Lauren Betts' sister, 7.2 points a game, 3.2 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and 53.8% from the field. Very raw. Room to grow, you know? So I will give her that. She's new. And then we look at Hawkes, 14.1 points a game, 6.2 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 53.3% from the field. I think, wasn't it the USC game? It was one of the recent games that I saw that she performed better in, but usually when I watch UCLA games, she don't be playing well and she don't be moving me. I don't know. I feel like the guards on UCLA are very streaky. That's one of my biggest problems. Everyone wants to crown UCLA right now, but I'm telling y'all, when they get to a big ticket matchups and whenever they take Lauren Betts out of the game, when they have posts that can play physical with her and take her out of the game, and you expect the guards to win the game for you, it's not going to happen. They've proven multiple times that they can do that. You might put some new faces, but I'm not going to believe it until I see it. So I just don't trust the guard play with UCLA in big matchups. That is my biggest problem with UCLA, okay? I think the team defense could use work. I think Lauren is the best defender, okay? I think the offense looks better than it did to start the season, okay? Because a lot of it's running around Lauren, and when they take Lauren out of the game and some of the sets that they were running, it looks a mess, okay? But recently, the last game I saw, it did look better, but you also played USC, who's not good, okay? I think, like I said, the guard play's not good in big games, so I don't trust it. I think Corey Close can't coach. I think she can't coach. And everyone is saying that she can't. Like, some people think that she can't coach, but what about Lauren Betts and their ability to take her out of big games every single time? Why are you not being able to plan better against that? And where are the adjustments at that point? And Kiki Rice development, where's that at? Some of the things that she struggled with, she should have been worked on. So I just don't think that she's a good developer of players and a good coach and everything. I was talking with one of my friends saying, who's the worst coach? Her or Lindsay Gottlieb? My friend said Lindsay Gottlieb, because at least Corey Close is having this offense look somewhat decent, somewhat capable, so I can agree with her on that. But I just don't trust UCLA. I don't trust UCLA. They look good until they play real competition. That's my thing on UCLA, okay? And then I wanted to talk about LSU next, okay? So the most important players, Flau'jae Johnson, she's giving you 14.8 points a game, 4 rebounds, 2.6 assists, and she's 52.7% from the field, okay? She's a shooting guard. So my takes on Flau'jae this season, kind of been disappointing, to be honest with you guys, okay? I think Mylasia has been more so of a spark for this team. If you're looking at the Duke game, whenever Duke went on an 11-1 run, they called a timeout, and then it was 14-1. Mylasia came in, got some buckets, and was just able to get everybody to have that will to win. And Flau'jae didn't show up to the fourth quarter of that game, which was disappointing for me, because it was this whole song and dance about how Kara Lawson didn't play you, and she felt away about that, which I understand. So I would think when this game came up on the schedule, she was going to be on demon time, and the first 3 quarters she wasn't really doing a whole lot. In the fourth quarter, that's when you show up, and that's when it bothered me, okay? And then to those who did not see the game that they played against Vanderbilt when Flau'jae had 0 points, there was a moment where she had a 3, she really hesitated on it, and she shot it, she didn't make it. I don't know, it was giving confidence that she struggled with. I think it's a mental thing. Hopefully she has a sports psychologist. No shame in that. I'm wishing her the best in regards to that. So I think that those are some things with Flau'jae and everything. I think when her shot doesn't fall, it's just she struggles to impact the rest of the game, which she can do. I think that her defense, she can blow up plays. She's a good defender, and I'll give her credit for that. But when the shot doesn't go in, I think that she really struggles with that, and she's just so focused on that. Everything else goes willy-nilly. I think whenever it's a big moment, we seeing her not show up, and that's really frustrating. Like that Vanderbilt game that I already talked about, okay? And so the last game against Georgia, she played well. I believe she had 25 points, and that was really a confidence booster and everything, and she was talking about the haters, this and that, or whatever. I don't know. I feel like we could have waited for the Texas game for that, because we saying all that right now. You got to show up against Texas, because that Texas game is going to be a huge struggle for this LSU team for a variety of reasons, okay? And I'm actually going to preview that matchup, I've decided. And so I think that overall, Flau'jae is a really good player. Forgot to get to this point, but she can score from the three, the mid-range is T, and she can also finish at the rim, and she's just really flashy, okay? She has a lot of flair, and she likes to do a lot of cool stuff, okay? Whether that shot goes in or not, we shall see, but for the most part, I think when Flau'jae is at her best, when Flau'jae plays with confidence, one of the best players in women's college basketball. I think it's the confidence thing that's a problem at times, and, not showing up in big matchups, and I do have a problem with that as one of the top players on the team, as a senior, as the leader of the team as she's supposed to be. You can't disappear in big matchups. I'm sorry. I need to see more leadership from Flau'jae, but I do like her as a player. I'm fond of her, okay? So I will say those things. I will say those things about Flau'jae. Glad she has this bounce back. Let's see if that translates to Texas, okay? We look at Michaela Williams, 12.9 points a game. She had 4.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists. She is 53.6% from the field. She can give you some good stuff. That defense, I was watching that Georgia game. She was getting cooked. I will say that, okay? Offensively, she can do some good things for you if you're looking at that Kentucky game. And she was really the one who was igniting everything. As we know, they lost that game. And I got to put that photo on for the visual viewers of whenever she was hyping the crowd up. When y'all were only up by 1 point, I told my friend in real time, why are they celebrating? The game is not over yet. Okay? And so that was a big problem for me because they got too cocky, and then what happened? You didn't get the stop on defense, and now you lost the game, okay? So there's those things, but, I think she's a good player, okay? And then we have Mylasia Fuwiley. She comes off the bench for them, and she's giving you 14.4 points a game, 3.6 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and she's 52.8% from the field. Whole thing with Mylasia is I kind of just feel like she lacked discipline, okay? She can do some insane things, like whenever she missed that one shot, she came back for it, and then she scored, and that, behind the back that she had the Flau'jae, like, she can do some insane things. It's just lack of discipline. Like, she takes something, and it's like, why does everything have to be a women? Why can't we just go for a drive layup? And then just missing some easy shots that she should make straight up and everything. I don't feel like her threes are great this season. I would have to find the statistics on that and everything. But, yeah, and then there's some moments where she tries to do too much, and she turns over the basketball, or she misses some shots, or she gets in trouble with her defense and foul trouble, And so I just think the discipline is something that's going to be key for her going forward specifically, and really for this whole LSU team, okay? I think whenever she's on, she's fun to watch and everything. That Vanderbilt game, I was split because she did some good stuff. I think she had like 13 points, but then you had 5 turnovers in that game, and you kept getting in, having moments with defense where you were fouling people. So I get frustrated. with that with Mylasia, but I think that those are the top 3 most important players for LSU. Other pieces, they got Zakiya Johnson, 11.3 points a game, 5.8 rebounds, 1.3 assists. She is 63% from the field. She can do some good things. Joyner, 11.1 points a game, 7.2 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and she's 67.9% from the field. Okay. So overall, I think LSU is a flashy and they're a fun team, okay? And so here's the problems with LSU at this rate. So their defense is terrible. They can't play a good zone. They can't play man. They consistently get beat on defense. Where the help side defense at? It's just not good defensively, okay? And these are things that I saw in a game like the Tulane one, for example, and some of the other stuff before we got to the ranked matchups that I thought was a problem, and just not being good enough on defense, okay? And so that's something that is bad for them. They're so focused on, but we can outscore the other team. But what happens when you can't outscore the other team? You have to rely on your defense to be able to, create pressure, to turn the other team over, to be able to score off of that, and to be able to stop them from scoring all over with your looking at the perimeter and all that other stuff. I forgot to say UConn perimeter defense could use some work as well. I forgot to say that. And so I think defensively they're just terrible. Okay, there's always a step behind, okay? Lack of discipline, okay? In terms of the way that they are running the offense, okay? We just take in random shots. Let's run the offense better. Let's slow some stuff down. Because a lot of the shots that they take is really confusing to me. And everything has to be a highlight instead of doing the fundamental things well. And that irritates me. No leadership on this team right now. What you're seeing in these games, somebody to come in, somebody to be the bad guy, and somebody to hold them accountable. Because there was a point they were 0-2 in SEC play. And to me, I can't have that. I can't have that. Kim coaching and rotations and adjustments, I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it, okay? And they don't really have real post presence, okay? Like real defense in the post. There was that moment in that Vanderbilt game whenever Kate Koval was on a switch on Michaela Blakes whenever she hit that reverse. I don't know why that was a switch. I don't know why. But Kate Koval is not moving me. Kate Koval is not moving me on this team. So I do have to say that as well for this LSU team. And so Grace Knox is not moving me. Rashard can be decent for this team. I don't know. They got a whole lot of guards. They don't have real post presence. And I think when you go against Texas, it's going to be a problem, okay? Now, previewing this Texas matchup, I think it should be a really good one, hopefully. I think LSU's chance to win this game is the three-point shooting. They're not as good from three as I would have hoped, but if they can catch fire like Michaela Williams-Flage with the threes, if they can do well from the three-point line, I think that that's something that will be extremely helpful to them because, like I said, Texas struggles from the three. So I think if they can do that, if they can basically outscore, then they win the game. I have no faith in their defense at all, but I think that Texas is going to have them in a blender defensively, like I said, with the pressure that they're going to put on them continuously. And when you have players like Oldacre, for example, and Cunningham, who are going to go against Kate Koval in the post, okay? Kate Koval already not lighting it up that much as of late in these SEC matchups. When you have them in the post and everything, and, you know, whatever the assignments are going to be, I think that's going to be a struggle. Now, I was asking my friend, what are the matchups going to be with this Texas and this LSU game in regards to the defense, okay? And she was basically saying that she thinks that Rory is going to be guarding Malaysia, which I think that she could force her into some turnovers, into some bad shots and everything for sure, and she could speed her up. So I think that that would be something that I would be tapped into in the game personally. She said she thinks Madison Booker is going to guard Flage, which I could see that, I think Madison Booker is decent on defense. Sometimes she gets beats, but that should probably be a fine matchup, okay? And she does have the size advantage over her. Flage is 5'10", 5'11". Madison Booker, I think, is 6'3". So she said that as well. She said that, Jordan Lee, that Michaela Williams was going to be guarding her. So we'll see how that works out as well. And then, you know, the post matchups and everything. So that is going to be interesting, okay? So it's just who can execute their scout better, who can play a more disciplined game and everything. I think Texas just has a lot more discipline as a team at this point. The defense you're going to get, I like how their offense runs. They set up a lot of great opportunities for each other, whether that's transition, whether that's in the post, being smart and making the extra pass right now. I just think Texas is playing at a way better level. I think that they've proved that for real. Whenever you played South Carolina in one, you played UCLA in one, and they just had more challenges than LSU at this point. So, you know, I think that Texas is going to take this game. I think Texas is going to take this game. Like I said, LSU's best bet is a three-point shooting, in my opinion, okay? Hoping that their guards get hot. And everything with this game. But I got Texas for this one. I think Vic Schaefer is definitely going to make something happen. I think Vic Schaefer is definitely going to make something happen for sure. Okay, so that's what I got for LSU at this rate. Now I move on to South Carolina, okay? So for South Carolina, I think their most important players, you got Joyce Edwards. Okay, she's giving you 21.1 points a game. She has 6.3 rebounds, 2.5 assists. She's 61.3% from the field. Joyce Edwards is catching fire this year, okay? She had a 34-piece, I believe, against USF. And she's just dominant in the post, making sure that she's getting her shots in the post. She has that finesse as well, able to score in a variety of ways in the post. I would like to see more three-point shooting. I think Dawn Staley said that, which I would agree with as well. Defensively, she can force some turnovers at times, like in that Arkansas game. She was able to do some good stuff with that and all that. But yeah, Joyce Edwards is really your ticket. She's really your ticket. She's the player that you should play through every single game. So Joyce Edwards is doing a lot of great stuff for South Carolina this season, especially in the post, okay? And that's what Dawn does with their post players. She had Asia Wilson, Camila Cardoso, for example, AB, and you guys know I hate AB because of the elbows. I'm gesturing. But yeah, that's what she does with her post players. So Joyce Edwards is great for this team. Tessa Johnson, I think, is key. She's their three-point specialist. You guys know I'm fond of Tessa Johnson personally, okay? 13.8 points a game, 3.9 rebounds, 2.9 assists, and she's 49.7% from the field. I believe in the Arkansas game, they said that she's 45% from the three. But yeah, Tessa a demon, okay? That game against Iowa, she had, 19 points in that natty, okay? So she's cooking, okay? And I'm fond of Tessa if you've seen some of my videos and such. And so she's a three-point threat. She can create a mid-range jump shot. She can finish at the basket if need be. I think her defense struggles. I think she gets cooked on defense on a regular basis, and I think she has to step up the defense if I'm going to keep it real with you guys and everything. But I think that, you know, she's doing a lot of good stuff for the most part. Latson has been out for a while. She has an injury, so hopefully she's to be back soon, but still a big part for South Carolina regardless. 16.9 points a game, 3.5 rebounds, 4 assists, 51.9% from the field. I think Latson, sometimes she's a shot chucker at points, okay? So I will definitely say that, forcing some stuff at times. And I think that her off-ball defense, like her skills, is quite good. She can definitely force some turnovers. The on-ball defense, I think, could use some work and everything. And I think that she's actually decent at facilitating. She's had some good moments with that, so we'll see when she's to be back, but definitely an important part regardless. Some other pieces, you got Raven Johnson, okay? She's giving you 10.2 points a game, 4.2 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 52% from the field, okay? So my overall takeaway on Raven Johnson and everything is the fact, I feel like people overrate her game. I think what you're getting from Raven Johnson at this rate is that she can run the offense, she can facilitate absolutely, and that she can play great defense. That's what you're getting. She's not really known for her scoring prowess. Her numbers have come up this year, I will say. Also at the same rate, a lot of these, like the scheduling, the teams they play not ranked, and they be leaving her wide open and everything. In a big matchup, are you trusting Raven Johnson to come through and score 20 points for you? You're not trusting it. You're not trusting it and everything. So I don't know. I feel like people be overrating her, you know, and what she can actually do. And every single time I say that, here come Gamecock FC, this and that and that. But people talking about she's a lottery pick, and I feel like, how are you a lottery pick when you're not a top 3 scoring option on your team? I don't understand that. I don't understand that. So I feel like y'all be overrating her, and every single time I say that, here y'all go. But like, that's just how I feel. That's just how I feel. Okay, so I will say those things about Raven Johnson in this video. Okay, I can give credit where it's due, but y'all be doing too much. And then, you know, Medina Okot, I believe is how you pronounce it. 15.2 points a game, 11.4 rebounds, 1.2 assists. She's 61.2% from the field. So she's giving you some good stuff in the post as well. Okay, snaring down those rebounds, averaging a double-double. So I like that. I like that. The Arkansas game, you know, this is the first time I watched them in a couple weeks, but I thought that they looked good in that game. Obviously, the way that they were able to share the ball and everything, and you saw a lot of good stuff. There was a moment with, I think, Tessa and Raven, if you guys have seen that game. So I thought that they were doing some good stuff with sharing the basketball. I think that their defense looks decent, you know. I don't think it's outstanding. I don't think it's terrible. I think that they're doing a decent job at forcing some turnovers and everything, still giving up some possessions and stuff that they shouldn't. And I don't know why she took Joyce out of that last game, you know, whatever. Like, whenever she put her on the bench, she put her whole starting lineup on the bench, put on the bench, and then they decreased the lead to 10 whenever they were playing Arkansas. That was blasphemous by Don. But I think that they're decent, you know, on defense and everything. I think that the main problem that they're dealing with right now is just the injuries. If you're looking at Tanaya Latson right now, we don't know when she's to be back. At least I don't, at the recording of this video. Chloe Kitts tore ACL out the season. Watkins is going to be out. The bench is questionable as well. The three-point shooting in certain matchups as well. So, yeah, I think that this team, they're probably going to get to an Elite 8, maybe a Final 4 if I push it. I think Dawn Staley's a hell of a coach. 3 national championships. What she's able to do with this team, I think her resume speaks for itself. Obviously, I think it's just really the injuries that's holding them back at this rate, okay? So I will say that about South Carolina right now, okay? And next up, we go on to a team like Oklahoma, okay? So, you know, Oklahoma, most important players at this rate. We got Aaliyah Chavez, also known as Cydia Norman, okay? To those who do not know the context behind that, there was this one video and she was announcing that she was going to be committing to OU. And she said, basically, I'm ready to bring a championship to the city of Norman. It was so funny. It was so funny, okay? They didn't know what she was talking about. Some people didn't even know she said Norman. Some people didn't, like, they didn't know that. So it's just so funny to me. So that's why every single time I talk about her, I call her City of Norman. That's where it originates from. I think it's funny. I really do like her as a player for what it's worth. But aside from that tangent, she's giving you 19.3 points a game, 4.1 rebounds, 4.3 assists, and she's 40.7% from the field, okay? And so I really do like her game. You know, she's a good three-point shooter. She can shoot in the mid-range and get crafty with that, a little behind-the-back stuff too. She can finish through contact. We saw her doing that in that last game against Ole Miss, which they lost, and I kind of will talk about that a little bit in this game and everything, but she's crafty is the point, okay? She can score in a variety of ways, and that's really important as a guard. She doesn't just rely on one thing. If one thing doesn't work, she'll go to the next thing and everything. And so I think that there's still stuff that she has to learn, you know, times where we got to keep the turnovers down. You know, I think she had 7 in the last game, and they were pressuring her a lot, to be fair, but I don't like turnovers. I don't like turnovers as a Page fan, okay? She's got me accustomed to a lifestyle. If I see 3 turnovers in a game, that's too many, okay? I'm spoiled with that. So I will definitely say those things, okay? But she's great at facilitating this offense. You know, she's a conductor of it. I will say for the most part, there's some times where she's got to slow down and transition and all those other moments. The defense could still use some work. But she's trying, okay? I think she's a whole lot of fun to watch. That 33-34 piece against NC State when she put the team on her back. This last game, she put the team on her back and everything. It was a rough shooting night for her from the field, but the third, fourth quarter, she really caught fire. She really caught fire. She was the only reason that the team had a chance. Okay, so I will definitely be seated. I will definitely be seated for City of Norman and her tenure at OU. And so I feel like the team is only going to go as far as she takes them, basically, because she's the best player on the team and as the point guard and the conductor of the offense and everything and so on. But I think you're seeing a lot of good stuff. I feel like people aren't really talking about her enough for some reason. But, you know, I got a lot of love for how she plays the game for sure. And then other key players for this team, you got Reagan Beers. So she's giving you 17.3 points a game, 11.4 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and she's 58.4% from the field. My takeaway on Reagan Beers in the last game, them as a team, they really struggled and everything. She misses some easy layups that she should definitely make. So I would just like to see her make more of her layups. The outside shot, she tries them in the three. It is not there. Okay, so being consistent with that outside shot. Defensively, I think it really depends on the game and the matchup because she had Lauren Betts and hell in that game that they played. I think she held her like 8 points, so she can do some good stuff on defense and everything. I don't know. I have varying opinions on her as a player at this rate. She was snagging down some rebounds in the last game. There was a point where she didn't score until the fourth quarter, and she did nothing in the third. So I have my problems there. She can have her times being good at facilitating. So I guess that's how I feel about Reagan Beers at this point in time. Okay. And then we look at Peyton Verhulst. She's giving you 10.1 points a game, 6.1 rebounds, 3.1 assists, and she's also 38.3% from the field. 38.3% from the field. It's getting to a point. The last game, I believe she was 1 of 14. So that was dreadful. She is a 3-point specialist for them and everything. The defense at times can be good. At times it can be questionable and everything. I don't know. That last game just frustrated me. I don't know why Jenny Baranchek, I believe is her name, played Peyton Verhulst so many minutes. She clearly wasn't feeling it. You know, it wasn't a good game for her. And that happens. Everyone has bad shooting nights, but I just don't know why she played so many minutes. Okay. So there's that. Sahara Williams, 13.4 points a game, 8.1 rebounds. She has 3.9 assists and 48.5% for the field. So I think she's a good player for this team. She's doing some good stuff for you. Zaya Van, she kind of reminds me of Kelsey Mitchell. I don't know. 11.4 points a game, 4.6 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and she's 45.6% from the field. So those are some other players for OU, okay? My overall takeaway on OU is that they're a good team. They were ranked number 5, probably going to fall because they just lost to Ole Miss. They like to play fast. They like to get out in transition and everything, facilitate in that way. When you like to play fast and whenever you turn over the basketball and whenever you don't make the layups and everything, you know, that can be a problem. And then Ole Miss was doing a good job for the most part, keeping them out of transition, at least at points and everything by getting the rebounds and stuff and getting back with their transition defense, okay? And so I think whenever you take a transition away from this team, it's like, who are they really, okay? And so I think that that's something that you just got to put a pin in right now and think about the transition and how that is going for OU and what they can do going forward whenever they get in positions like that, okay? And so I do like their facilitation. I do think that they do some good stuff on offense. Some of the stuff is puzzling, but for the most part, I think that they're a fun team to watch, mainly because of City of Norman. I mean, defense is inconsistent. There's room to grow. You know, I watched one of the games, I think it was against NC Central. I thought that their zone improved with their rotations and such. And then the last game, they kept getting their zone fried by Ole Miss because they weren't getting their rotations right parts and everything. They were letting Coney McMahon take mid-ranges all over the place. She was even taking threes on them. So their zone just got fried in that last game. So I think that they can do better because I think the help side wasn't there. And so they were getting beat and then there was no one to help them. So there was that. I just think that they got exposed by Ole Miss. Like I told you what they like to do on offense. I told you that on defense as well. And then the beginning of the game, Ole Miss was just hitting everything. And then Oklahoma couldn't seem to hit anything. I'm talking layups. I'm talking about threes. Like, it was a really tough shooting night for Oklahoma as a team. If you look at the full advanced stats for this game, which I'll try to put up on the screen. Okay, reminding myself when I'm editing this video and podcast for you guys and everything. But, yeah, I don't know. I think Ole Miss they played harder. They battled. They didn't make as many mistakes and turnovers. And, you know, City of Norman just wasn't able to do enough to put them over the top in that specific game. So, you have those things. Kentucky, Clara Strack, I think she a demon. 16.1 points a game, 10 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 49.1% from the field. She can do it all. She can hit a three-pointer for you. She can get in that mid-range and do a little fadeaway kind of moment for you. And she was doing it in that LSU game. She can finish at the rim. So, yeah, one of those post players is versatile. So, I like her game. And she can play good defense, too. So, I like Clara Strack, and I've been meaning to watch some more Kentucky, so I have some more thoughts on the other players in time, but she's the one who stood out to me with Kentucky. Talking about Iowa State, okay, Audie Crooks is their, best player. So she's giving you 28.7 points a game, 6.9 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and 69.1% from the field. My takeaway on Audie Crooks is a multi-layered opinion, as all of mine are at this rate. And so I think that she's good at what she can do. She can finish at the rim. Obviously, that's the main thing that she does. She has a little fadeaway that she taps into every once in a while. She doesn't really take threes like that, okay? So I'd like to see some more things with that. I think she got to get the conditioning up because in transition, she'd be struggling to get back in transition. I'll say that. I think she has a good whistle. I feel like in that Iowa game that I watched, it's like they weren't allowed to defend her. They were calling, ghost fouls, and I was kind of frustrated by that as well. And just want to see more of it back offensively. Terrible defense. It's really bad. And I'm just wondering how she'll translate to the next level. I think she has things that she can do well and everything. I think when you get to the next level, when you're playing against players like Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, Nafisa Collier, Jonquel Jones, Alana Smith, defenders like that, I think, that's what I worry about. And now I get into the part where I'm adding in a brand new segment, okay, where I'm going to be reviewing games that I don't talk about on my TikTok profile if you guys follow me. And if you guys don't, check me out, Anastasia 250. I'm going to give you guys reviews of the games that I watch in real time, and I do go live on there and like to chop it up with you guys there as well. But now I give you guys a review of Iowa State's last game that they played against Cincinnati and, why I think that they lost, because I did watch it before this live, okay? So if you're looking at the stats for Iowa State, Audie Crooks played 34 minutes. She had 23 points, 10 of 21 from the field, 0-1 from the three-point line, 3 of 9 free throws, 10 rebounds, no assists, 1 turnover, no steal, and no blocks, okay? I thought that she did a lot good in this game, obviously. She hit a few reverses, had moments with that, being able to finish at the rim as well. And the three that she tried to take didn't hit. I don't think she hit a whole lot of fadeaway moments or anything like that, but she was able to finish for the most part. I think that they are actually playing some good defense on her and everything, forcing her into some tough shots as well in times where they were trying to get it to her where they weren't necessarily able to, turning that over as well. So I think that's that. I think whenever you're looking at her missing 6 free throws, I think that's part of the reason why they lost the game, especially in the clutch. Just missing that many free throws. I think it's unacceptable, so I will say those things. Like I said, our defense is terrible. She, just walks around and she doesn't really try to guard anybody, or she'll just stand there and let them blow right past like they did in this game. So for me, that was frustrating. And everything. So I think she did some good stuff in this game. I think the bad defense and the missing free throws kind of did them in as a team. So I will say those things for Audie Crooks in this game, okay? And then Sydney Harris, 27 minutes, 4 points, 2 of 6 from the field, 0-2 from the 3. She had no free throws, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 turnover, 2 steals, and no blocks. So 2 of 6 from the field. Don't love those things. You would have liked to see more for the time, I suppose. Just some bad mistakes. You look at Jada Williams, 35 minutes played, 13 points, 5 of 16 from the field. She shot my sister's birthday. Okay, and that was 1 of 6 from the 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 1 rebound, 7 assists, 4 turnovers, no steal, and no block. She just frustrated me in this game. She's just a shot chucker. She liked any shot that was available to her. She was taking a lot of bad shots, and it just frustrated me to watch her play the game. And so Ariana Jackson, 34 minutes, 6 points, 2 of 5 from the field and from the 3. No free throws, 2 rebound, 1 assist, no turnover, 1 steal, and 1 block. So I don't know. Not really that effective in the time. And then Kenzie Hare, just not good in this game. 38 minutes played. You had 8 points, 2 of 11 from the field, 1 of 7 from the 3, 3 of 4 free throws, 7 rebound, no assists, 2 turnover, 4 steals, and no blocks. So, there was, at least she was able to stuff the stat sheet in other ways, but 2 of 11 from the field is just tough. And then looking at the bench, I'll just read the points, and then for the visual viewers, I will put this on the screen so you guys can read it, but there's not really much to talk about. But Elisa, 4 points, Lily, 0 points, Reese, 3 points, I believe, Reagan, 2 points, and Evangelia, I believe, 0 points. So that's everyone from Iowa State and their scoring for this game. Okay, and so we look at everybody from Cincinnati. I'll read the full stat lines for this one. So Kylie, 21 minutes, 0 points, 0-3 from the field, no threes, no free throws, 9 rebounds, no assists, 2 turnover, no steal, and no block. 0-3 from the field, that's tough. Destiny, she played 20 minutes, had 5 points, 2 of 2 shooting, no threes, 1 of 2 free throws, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 2 steal, and no block. I believe she's one of their marquee players because they kept talking about how they wanted to get it to her in the post. They weren't able to. Iowa State was denying that at times. And so I thought that she did play some good defense on Audie Crooks for the record. She was able to get 2 stops back to back. I remember one, I think she got the steal on it. So she was doing some good defense on Audie without fouling. So I thought that she was playing some good stuff defensively. Okay. I thought she would add more points, but it makes sense. And then we look at number 4. I forget how to pronounce her name, but she played 28 minutes, 13 points, 5 of 14 from the field is rough, 0-1 from the 3, 3 of 4 free throws. She had 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 turnover, no steal, and no block. So not great. Reagan, 25 minutes played, 8 points, 2 of 5 from the field, 0 1 from the 3, 4 4 free throws, 2 rebound, no assists, 3 turnover, 1 steal, and no blocks. Okay, and then Perry, the only one who did anything for them the whole game. I mean, 40 minutes played, 26 points, 10 of 14 from the field, 4 of 6 from the 3, 2 of 3 free throws. He had 1 rebound, no assist, 4 turnovers, 3 steals, and no blocks. So yeah, she was the only one doing anything. I don't know, everybody else was not good. And then the bench reading the points: Alliance 2 points, Ramaya 0 points, Mary 0 points, Delaney 0 points, D 7 points, and Joya had 10 points. Okay, so there was that. And then for the box score for the game: first quarter 20-23, second quarter 8-10, third quarter 20-18, fourth quarter 15-20. Ultimately, Cincinnati wins this game 71-63. Okay, the game leaders for points, rebounds, and assists for Iowa State: Audie Crooks leading the way in points with 23. She had 10 rebounds leading as well. And then Jada Williams had 7 assists to 4 turnovers. Okay, and then for the Bearcats, Perry was leading and scoring 26 points. And then Bird had the most rebounds at 9, and number 4 had 2 assists. Okay, so that's the kind of game this was. Only 2 assists in the game. So you see those things. We take a look at the advanced stats. And so from the field, Iowa State was 24 of 67 from the field, 36%. And then 4 of 21 from the 3, so that's really rough. 19%, 11 of 20 from the free throw line, 55%. They had 30 total rebounds in this game. They got out-rebounded by 14. That's insane. 11 offensive rebounds. They had 19 defensive rebounds, 12 assists, 9 steals, only 1 block, 12 total turnovers in this game. And they had 19 points off turnovers, 18 fast breaker transition points. Only 8 points. It's kind of crazy. And then 36 points in the paint. They had 16 fouls, no techs. Largest lead was 3, and then percent led was 11. If you look at Cincinnati in this game, so 25-51 from the field, 49%, 4 of 9 from the 3, which is going to be 44%, 17 of 24 from the free throw line, which is going to be 71%. And then you look at the rebounding, 44 total rebounds, so out-rebounded a whole lot. 8 offensive rebounds, 36 defensive rebounds. And then they had 6 assists, 8 steals, 2 blocks, 25 total turnovers in this game. And then they had 8 points off turnovers, no fast break points, which is crazy. And they had 30 points in the paint, 20 fouls, no touch, largely was 11, and then percent led was going to be 86%. Okay, and so there's the stats for the game. Those are the tangible stats for the game. Okay. My overall takeaways in this game is that Iowa State, their help side defense is terrible. They were getting beat on defense this whole game, and then it took them forever to come over with the help. So I think that was the problem. And defensively, they had some good moments, and then other moments, it just looked a mess, with their defense in this specific game. So I will definitely say that about Iowa State. I think that's one of the biggest things that actually bothered me in this game. Okay, they had no Addie Brown in this game. I forgot to say that, but that's certainly going to hurt them. Okay, so I think they said she averaged 13 points a game or something. She was putting some points on the board, So she was out for that as well. And I think what Cincinnati was able to do in this game was, they held Audie Crooks below her average. Like, yeah, she still had, 23 points, but you held her below her average. So, I mean, that's a win, okay? And they made more free throws, okay? I think Iowa State missing 9 free throws in this game is a huge reason why they lose, okay? They make all of those. They go 20 for 20. At the very least, they would have won the game. So I think that was a big problem for them. And they were taking some really bad shots. I think that Cincinnati was mixing it up with their defensive coverages. They played some zone. They played some man. And just making them have to take difficult shots. They were caught in the paint, and all those other things. So I think that was something in their favor as well. I think Iowa State defense, they were letting them drive too much to the basket, and even the coach was saying that as well. So I think it was spotty by both teams. There was a rate where, Cincinnati went on a run in the fourth quarter as well. I don't know. I think they controlled the game offensively and defensively. I think that they stuck to their scout. There were some times where you saw Iowa State just make some bad decisions and all that, but they should have won this game. If you look at some of the key stats, when you see that Cincinnati had 25 turnovers and Iowa State had 12 turnovers. So they had 13 more turnovers in this game. And you're telling me y'all didn't win the game? Okay, so there's that. But whenever you make more of the free throws, okay, I think that that's a big key in this game. When they out-rebounded them in the game, I think that they played better defense throughout the game. So, yeah, I think they played better. I think Iowa State just made way too many mistakes down the stretch. So that's kind of my review of this game. It's kind of my review of this game, okay? So I did want to do this section for these just to kind of entice people to listen to my podcast and everything, and just watch some games that I might not get to throughout the week. So I was thinking about this or the TCU game, but when I was on live last, people asked me about this one. So I might watch the TCU game whenever they lost against, Utah or something? I think they lost against Utah or something. So I'll definitely try to catch that one the next time and review it. But, those are my thoughts on Iowa State and, how that game went for them, because they were just doing anything. They were being some shot chuckers. And then Next up, I wanted to talk about TCU. Okay, so TCU, I think their most important player is Olivia Miles, 19.3 points a game, 7.4 rebounds. You got 7.8 assists, and she's 51.9% from the field. As I've said in some of my videos, if you guys haven't caught it, I do think she's going to go number 3 to Seattle Storm. I think she's been consistent with the production. The conference play, they're not getting a whole lot of challenges. I have my, qualms about that and everything, and I've talked about that. But it is what it is. Like, if a good player is supposed to beat up on bad teams, which is what she's doing, and she has, 4 other years of previous work, so it's not like this is her first year, obviously. So she has other things to fall back on, other performances that she's had that's been good. And so I have to see that last game that they lost against a team that's not even ranked to see what happened with that. I did see the clip that was making the rounds about her demanding the ball. I don't know. I didn't think that looked good. I'll put it that way, okay? And so I think that she can score in a variety of ways. She doesn't have that one move offensively that like, oh, this is her staple. Paige has a mid-range jump shot. AZ has a 3. Caitlin Clark has a 3. Like, I don't know. Usually every player has that one move that's like, oh, they're going to do this every single game. I've watched multiple games. I couldn't tell you. She likes to do the hezzy sometimes, I suppose, but that's something to keep on mark. But she can score in a variety of ways is the point. I think the shot died at times. It'd be bad. She'd just be taking any shot, okay? And some games were rough for her, like that NC State game that she played as well. So you have those things. I think she can do a good job facilitating. Some of the passes are too overly ambitious, we'll put it that way. This ain't the Harlem Globetrotters. I know she offended Chelsea Gray, but some of these turnovers be bad. And then she get mad at her teammate for you turning it over. You pass it out of bounds. It wasn't even close, okay? So taking better care. I think she averages 3 turnovers. Would like to see her get that down. Okay, like I said, I don't like turnovers, okay? I think her defense is terrible, to be frank. Whenever TCU playing defense, it's just 4 and 5 because I'm just not seeing her put effort on defense. She gets beat on defense on a consistent basis. I just don't think she cares about defense. And there's some games where she's played better defense than others, but this is some of the worst defense that I've seen. Like, generally, like her, Audie Crooks, Caitlin Clark, some of the worst defense you'll see in this life. I promise you. So yeah, I think she got some upside and everything. Not my favorite player to watch. I don't know. I'll put it that way, but she's putting the points on the board and she's doing what she's supposed to do. I guess we'll put it that way. I think her body language when the game's not going her way and some other things I got problems with. I did a full scouting report. I'm forgetting some of the stuff that I said about her. So you guys, if you go on my channel, if you're watching this on YouTube, just type in Anastasia 25 Olivia Miles scouting report. It'll pop up and I kind of go more into detail and talk about her production. But she's a good player is the point. Marta Suarez is giving you 18.1 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, 2.9 assists, and 51.4% from the field. She's consistent. I think she'll be a first round draft pick. I'd like her game. And she can stretch the floor. Silva, 10.4 points a game, 7.8 rebounds, 1.1 assists, and 64.1% from the field. I really like her game as well. So I think that those are the top 3 players for TCU. Okay, I think they run a good offense, usually making the extra pass. They do a lot of good in facilitating for each other. Like I said, defense is 4v5. Okay, and so yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that game to see why they lost. But those are some of my thoughts on TCU at this rate, okay? And now I want to talk about Michigan, okay? Silas Storrs is our top player, the one that gets talked about a lot. 13.9 points a game, 4.8 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and she's 40.8% from the field. Okay, she's a sophomore. Olivia Olson's also doing some good stuff. 17.7 points a game, 5.4 rebounds, 2.1 assists, and 46.6% from the field. What I like about Michigan is that they can play a good zone. They played it against us. You saw what they were doing against Notre Dame, how they had Hannah Hidalgo, also known as I have friends who are homosexual, in hell in that game, frankly. They kept collapsing in on her and making her have to take difficult shots that entire game, and they really had her number because she was 421 from the field. So I think that defensively, for the most part, they're a really good team. And everything. I think that the last game against Washington, I thought that they didn't play well as a team, okay? Their zone was getting fried, and whenever they switched to man, they were just one step behind the entire game defensively. So I thought that was a problem, and then the shots just weren't going in. It was just a really tough day for them, and that game was not pretty. Y'all let Avery Howell have a masterclass, so that's something that they have to sit with, okay? So that's the last time that I saw Michigan, okay? I gotta catch some more of their recent games and everything, and yeah, that was concerning to me. I didn't expect them to look like that, but we'll see. And then next up, some thoughts on Baylor. Baylor, all I have is Talia Scott in a dream. Okay, 20.4 points a game, 3 rebounds, 3.1 assists, and 42.2% from the field. She is a shot chucker. Okay, that's number 1. And 2, she does foul bait. Okay, those things are true, but she's the only real offense that Baylor has. I don't like watching Baylor. It's just a bunch of bricks. It's just not fun to watch at all. Every single time I've watched Baylor, I have not enjoyed myself. That game against Iowa, it was really just who could brick less. I just don't enjoy them as a team. I really do not enjoy Baylor. Like, this team, they're not making it far in the tournament, okay? Some thoughts on Ole Miss. Cody McMahon is leading the charge for Ole Miss. 19.1 points a game. She has 5.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and she's 49.2% from the field. Okay, and can score in a variety of ways. Not really a three-point shooter. She likes to take the middies more so, and she can drive and she can do some good stuff. In that Texas game, you saw how she was able to kind of lead the charge in the fourth quarter, almost spark a comeback. She was doing some good stuff because Oklahoma was falling asleep at the wheel defensively, and they kept letting her get in the elbow area and take middies, and she was even taking threes in that game. So she's doing good stuff for you. She's going to do good stuff for you over at Ole Miss. Like I said, I think Ole Miss has a lot of grit. They don't give up. Okay, so I will give Ole Miss that. Those are some of my thoughts on Ole Miss at this rate. I don't watch them a whole lot. I'll probably will more once because SEC play is starting. Ohio State, I think their top player, Jelani Cambridge, 20.8 points a game. She's giving you 5.3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 51.2% from the field, okay? She's a demon. She can score in a variety of ways. She can have some good plays on defense, too. I do like her game. I've caught a few of the Ohio State games, so she's their best player, okay? Kylie Kidd still don't move me. I don't know her stats, but she don't move me, okay? So we can move on to Tennessee. Tennessee, in my opinion, Talasia Cooper is their best player. So she's giving you 14.9 points a game, 6.1 rebounds, 4.3 assists, and she's 44.4% from the field. Again, a guard who can get crafty, who can score in a variety of ways, okay? The three ball for Tennessee is terrible, okay? Apparently they averaged 10 threes a game. They didn't do that in the ones that I was watching, okay? That Florida game, I think that they won because of their defense and because they bricked less, okay? Liz McGill was the only offense for Florida in that game, okay? Like, Florida is just not a good team. So the three-point shooting's in the gutter. I absolutely hate the rotations that the coach is doing over at Tennessee because we're doing substitutions every 3 minutes, changing the whole lineup. It's not the same starting lineup every game. I'm sorry. Talasia Cooper is your best player. There's no world where she shouldn't be starting the game. I'm sorry. Every time I watch Tennessee, it's time that I don't enjoy. I'm just wondering when it's going to end. I don't like Tennessee. I don't trust Tennessee. Offensively, it's just a bunch of bricks. They don't have a consistent three-point shooter, and some of the shots that they be taking, a lot of them are ill-advised at this rate. Defensively, I think that they can do some good stuff, but I mean, it's just, I don't like Tennessee. I don't like Tennessee. Okay, now I go on to USC. So all USC has at this rate is Jazzy Davison in a dream. She's giving you 16.1 points a game, 6.9 rebounds, 3.6 assists, and she's 38.8% from the field, okay? So I think Jazzy's a decent player for what it's worth. She can score in a variety of ways for sure, okay? And I think defensively, she's always going to make sure she gets those blocks in the game, and I think she's showing some good stuff. I think she's decent. You know, I think not having Juju Watkins is hurting USC really badly because, as has been proven, Lindsey Gottlieb cannot coach. It's in. She cannot make in-game adjustments, and they're talking about game plan this and game plan that. They were talking about, oh, we were ready for the game plan going into UConn. It didn't look like it because y'all got belt. Y'all got belt that entire game. So Lindsey Gottlieb, she can't coach. She can't coach. And it's in that she's a Juju Watkins merchant, which is what we all knew. And so I think when you don't have her consistently generating offense and putting points on the board, and she's great on defense too and a generational player, I think that's really hurting USC right now. Okay, and then Jazzy Davison has to take on the load, and so they're double and triple teaming her every single time that they play because she's their only real offense at this rate. And then she's struggling. She doesn't have handles, so she turns the basketball over. I think she has a bad shot diet. She just chucks up stuff. I think she needs to get in the weight room because, unfortunately, she began thrown around like a rag doll. And that's no shade because I think she's a decent player. I think she's just in a tough position right now with Juju not being in. And then she's the only real offense, so she's going to be targeted every single game with the double teams and the triple teams. They just make everything hard for Jazzy Davison at this rate, okay? I think that you have players like Cara Dunn. She's decent, 12.1 points a game, 5 rebounds, 1.9 assists, 43.9% from the field. So she's been decent when I've watched USC. Kennedy Smith's more so known for her defense, but she's still giving you 10.2 points a game, 4.7 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and she's 33.7% from the field, which is not great, okay, especially for a guard. So, yeah, I just think USC, their offense, they just look like they don't know what they're doing offensively. Like, their sets just always look a mess. And it just looks bad for them offensively, and then defensively they get beat as well. So it's just like Lords in the flood. Like I said, not having Juju is not helping. Lindsey Gottlieb can't coach. This team is just a mess every single time that I watch them. In that UCLA game, they put up a fight in the beginning, and then, you know, they just lost it. They couldn't make any shots anymore, and then defensively they were getting beaten at that game. And just USC is not good this year. They're not good this year, okay? I don't know what to tell you. And then we talk about Vanderbilt. Best players, Michaela Blakes. Okay, so she's giving you 24.9 points a game, 3.8 rebounds, 4.3 assists, and she's 45.8% from the field. And she is one of the top scorers in the nation, okay? She is a shot chucker. She is a shot chucker. And to those who don't know, a shot chucker basically just means you take a lot of shots, but they're not great ones. Like, you kind of just throw stuff up and everything. You're more so of a volume shooter. That's what a shot chucker means, at least to me, okay? So she is a shot chucker. The last game, she shot my birthday, which is October 25th, against LSU. But I do have to give her that she wasn't afraid of the moment. In that fourth quarter, she had 13 or 14 or 15 points, something like that. And that was T. Whenever she hit that reverse layup, whenever Kate Colwell did that switch on her, which like I said, I still don't know what that happened. And whenever she drove and then she scored and then she was hitting the floor and she was so excited about that. That fourth quarter was hers. She owned it. They could not guard her. She wasn't afraid of the moment. She said after the game, it was a having no fear mentality, and you saw that. She wanted that win. She's not going to be denied. She's not afraid, had the confidence in herself, and so I got to give her credits for what she was able to do in that LSU game. I think in that LSU game, when I was talking to my friends, I think that LSU basically played their worst game, and I think that Vanderbilt played the best game that they could play, because I believe LSU gave up like 10 threes in that game or something, and just being bad. A lot of these teams are really bad at perimeter defense. This is something that I forgot to mention at this rate. But I think Michaela Blakes is giving you some good stuff for Vanderbilt, but she's their main option. Galvin can do some good stuff for you, but it's basically Michaela Blakes. Like, it's her team at this rate. Okay, so shout out to her, what she was able to do that last game, because she was putting some good stuff, and I still be watching those highlights, because she ate bad. She ate bad, okay? And she can score in a variety of ways, too. Okay, defense, it depends on the possession, in my opinion, okay? And so next up, we look at Notre Dame, okay? So their best player, Hannah Hidalgo, also known as I Have Friends Who Are Homosexual, okay? It was something that was said in the Full Court Press documentary. That's where it comes from. I think it's funny, so I call her that. So that's why I always refer to her as I Have Friends Who Are Homosexual to those who are new. But she's giving you 24.7 points a game. You're getting 6.1 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and she's 48.6% from the field. One thing about her, she loves to drive. She loves to drive, okay, and get those N1s and everything. She loves to hit a celly. Every celly, it's like she just won the chip. And then her middies, I don't really see her take a whole lot of middies, at least be successful in that rate. And then her three ball has been in the gutter. I don't even know what her 3-point percentage is. Actually, let me look on her 3-point percentage this upcoming year, okay? So from the three this year, she is 24.7% from the 3-point line. So yeah, it's really rough from her from the 3-point line at this rate. She is 19 of 77 from three. Okay, so that is something to keep in mind. And so she will score in a variety of ways. Mainly she likes to drive though. Okay, and so yeah, she's their best player, so she's going to be targeted. Like I said, you look at that Michigan game, 421 from the field as well. And she's a shot chucker too. She's a shot chucker too, and it is what it is. Kind of has to be, because she's, the best player. So you have that as well. I think that defensively, she puts a lot of effort on defense. She's able to turn people over, really stifling defense. So she puts a lot on defense, so I can always appreciate that, okay? I like two-way players, okay? Like, she's not my cup of tea as a player, to be honest with y'all, because she's a shot chucker and everything, and I got my problems. But she's their best player, okay? Cassandra Prosper really does not move me for Notre Dame. She doesn't move me. Her stats this year, 17.1 points a game, 7.4 rebounds, 2.1 assists, and 55.3% from the field. I don't watch every game, okay? Maybe these stats are due to the competition that they're playing, but Cassandra Prosper, for the most part, doesn't move me. I think last game was one of her better ones, but she was still 5 of 13. And then Vanessa De Jesus don't move me either. 9.9 points a game, 2.8 rebounds, 4.1 assists, and 39% from the field. As a guard, like, it gets to the point. Calais, 9.9 points a game, 5.4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 58.6% from the field. She can do some good stuff, but she just misses some shots at the rim she should definitely make. Sanchez doesn't really do a whole lot, non-factor to me, 8.8 points a game, 5.4 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and 54.8% from the field. Okay, so yeah, I have friends who are homosexual in a dream. That's all Notre Dame got. They're not good. All the good players transferred. Okay, so that's what you have with Notre Dame. They like to play a lot of zone, basically, because, they don't have the personnel to play men, because they're dealing with a lot of injuries right now. So as a team, I think they're just not good. They don't really have a consistent person who, like I said, Cassandra Prosper doesn't move me. Like, in a big matchup, like, let's be for real. You know what I'm saying? Outside of I have friends who are homosexual. So there's that. Neil Ivey can't coach. They're having another Sweet 16 exit at best. It's probably the second round. They just don't have the personnel right now. So Notre Dame is just not moving me. And that loss against Duke was really telling, because Duke wasn't even ranked at that point. But they got outplayed. Duke did a lot of different looks, and they were able to do a lot of good stuff right. And they're scoring matched their defense in that game. For me. Iowa, Hannah Stokey don't move me. 13.6 points a game, 8.3 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and she's 53.6% from the field. I don't know. The games I've seen her play in hasn't played particularly well. Okay, so yeah, there's that. I think Chit Chat's good for them though. 13.1 points a game, 2.2 rebounds, 3.9 assists, and 48% from the field. She had KK on skates in that game. I don't care. People try to tell me that KK defense was good on her in that game. There was moments that was good, and there was moments that she was getting cooked. No shade. So there's that. Those are my thoughts on, most of the teams for women's college basketball, okay? In the not applicable section, haven't seen Maryland yet, haven't seen Louisville, Michigan State, Texas Tech, North Carolina. The only game I saw was when they played Texas, and Texas did what they needed to do. Princeton, Nebraska, either. And so there is that. So that's kind of my roundup on women's college basketball at this rate. Okay. And so, yeah, there's a lot of teams. And I think every single Monday they come out with, what is it called? The rankings and such. So you're going to be able to see how it changes depending on losses and everything. SEC plays coming up. But yeah, this is going to be a really long video to edit, but I'm going to try not to cut out a whole lot of stuff. Okay. And then I did want to take some time to talk about Unrivaled, okay? And so Unrivaled, the last game that I watched was the Breeze against the Hive. I thought it was a good game. So Paige, she was hitting, okay? She had 16 points, 7 of 14 from the field, 0-3 from the 3, 101 free throws, 10 rebounds, 2 offensive, 8 defensive, 7 assists, no steal, 1 block, 4 turnover. 2 of those turnovers went on her. At the very least, I'll put everyone else's stats on the screen so you guys can kind of see what everyone contributed. But everyone was in double figures. Everyone was in double figures for that game against the Hive. I think that Breeze, it's going to be the LA Sparks, basically, of Unrivaled, because they're basically going to be focusing on the scoring. Defense is questionable. I think Raheed defense, not good. I like Paige's defense a lot, and I feel like it's underrated, but I think Paige is giving you some good stuff on defense for the record, and that she is two-way, unlike Candace Parker and whatever she was saying. Cam Brink is good on defense, but she gets in foul trouble. Dom, it depends on the matchup. Sometimes she's good, sometimes she gets cooked. I think she did, well in the matchup against Ezzy. So I really think it was just outscoring. I think defensively it was better than the first game, but still the defense as a team, I don't love. I don't think Noelle Quinn can coach. I don't like her rotations with the team as well, but I thought you saw a lot of good things in terms of the movement of the basketball. Paige as your facilitator is always going to be good. It's always going to be good. She loves to feed the post. She can make a lot of insane passes and everything, takes care of the basketball. So I think you're getting some good stuff there, and the starting lineup is Paige, Rakia, Dom, which is usually fine. And so, I don't know. I hope this team goes far because I think they're a lot of fun. I like Unrivaled. It's good to see Paige play the game, obviously, and her having that game winner, that did something for me on Sonya at that, okay? Hive, I basically think that they got to work on their defense more because you got Sanaya, and she had 6 blocks in the game, and I'll put the stats up on the screen for those who are watching. And then also, Sonya is a good defender too. So I feel like if they focus on that and turn that into offense, I think that they can be good. I think that they kind of struggled on offense. Sonya, I think, was like 7 of 16 or something in the last game. She figured it out, but it was kind of rough, So I think offensively they're kind of struggling. They struggled in the first game as well. So I think they kind of focus on their defense, turning it more into offense. You can get some better things and some better results. I like Kelsey Mitchell as a player. She was able to get crafty. I think she was like 7-11 from the field in this game. So yeah, this is whenever I met Paige. I don't know if y'all can see it and everything. And then this is whenever she wrote nice shoes. I have this hung up behind me and everything. So y'all can kind of see that if y'all watching as well. But yeah, that's my top team, and Hive, I'll watch them on the side and everything. So I'm going to be giving reviews and everything for that. But those are some of my thoughts on Unrivaled. No Angel is really hurting me right now. No Fee is really hurting me right now. All I got is Paige in a Dream. That's all I got is Paige in a Dream. So I hope they go far because they're fun. Okay, so yeah, that was my first podcast episode. Okay. It's really long because there's a lot of teams to talk about in women's college basketball, and I'm a very opinionated person, okay? So I'm sure there's a lot of things that I wanted to say that I forgot, and I'm going to be kicking myself whenever I'm editing this. Maybe I'll put some notes in. Maybe I'll have some edits there. But this is something that I want to do every single week, just talking about the game of women's basketball and how much I love it and the matchups and what we can look forward to and all those things. So I hope that you guys will join me, okay? Want to add some new sections and everything. I'm still going to go live if you follow me on TikTok, as I think it's important to do so. And thank you guys for supporting me on there and everything. And of course, there'll be room to grow with this podcast and the things that I want to do and how I want to structure it and everything. And we'll see. But this was a long episode because I had to give my opinions. I had to give my affiliations and everything. I think the upcoming episodes will be short and everything because you guys kind of know where I stand at this rate if you're new or if you've already been here. And so I can kind of just dive into it and get into some more key matchups and everything. So when I'm filming this, obviously Texas has not played LSU, so I'm excited about that and everything. So that will be something to look forward to. Also really excited to talk about the WNBA in the next episode, what I liked, and all those other things as well. But yeah, that is going to be it for the first episode of Anastasia's Scouting Report. Thank you guys for watching or listening wherever, because I'm going to upload this everywhere. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to give it a like. It just lets me know that you guys enjoy what I'm doing and to keep putting out more of it, okay? And also you can rate this on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all those other things. If you want to find me on my other social media, if you are listening to this, my YouTube channel is Anastasia25, where the video versions of this will be uploaded every single week. I'm going to film, hopefully Saturday, new episodes every Sunday. That's going to be my goal. Going to try to be very timely with that as well. And then I also am on Twitter at the Anastasia25, at TheAnastasa25. I'll put it on the screen. I have Instagram, Anastasia.Womack as well. My TikTok account, the one I mentioned, is the one where I upload all of my reviews in real time, and I also do go live on there. So it's going to be Anastasia250, okay? And so I go into more detail like I did with my Iowa State review for the stats and everything. Here it's kind of easier just to talk generally about the games and such, and I think I'm going to try to focus here more on the overall views of the game and everything, like what I liked, what I didn't like. I might throw up the stats and everything, but you know, I think those are better for real time and everything. So trying to fill a lot of lanes, trying to do a lot of different things. But thank you guys for being here and supporting my first podcast episode. Of course, things to learn, of course, room to grow. I might change it up. I might add some segments and everything, but this is my first one. So I hope that you guys like it. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think on my opinions on these players and everything and all that. But I will see you guys in the next one.